What is the true weight of loyalty, and why do men worship it in words, yet betray it in silence? You see, alliances are not forged in honor, but in convenience, not sealed by trust, but by fear and gain. A man's promise lasts only as long as it profits him, and when survival whispers otherwise, oaths dissolve like smoke. We pretend to despise betrayal, yet it governs the hidden order of power and keeps the strong alive. If this unsettles you, good, because what I will tell you next cuts even deeper. Men speak of freedom as though it were the highest prize of life, yet observe them closely, and you will see how quickly they abandon it when faced with the burden of responsibility. They cry out for liberty in their songs and in their speeches, but in their actions they seek safety, guidance, and the firm hand of control. The contradiction is not an accident. It is the very foundation of human behavior. Most men do not want the weight of true freedom, for freedom demands choices, and choices demand courage. Instead, they prefer the comfort of being led, so long as the chains are wrapped in velvet, and the master wears the mask of a protector. This is why rulers and leaders endure. A people left entirely to their own devices soon grow restless and anxious, for liberty is chaos to those unprepared for it. They seek order, and in seeking order, they are willing to trade the very freedom they claim to cherish. The wise leader understands this weakness and exploits it not with cruelty, but with precision. He offers the illusion of freedom while quietly binding his people in invisible bonds. A man who believes he is free, yet lives under careful control, is the most obedient of all, for he resists nothing and even defends his own subjugation. Look at the masses. They wish to choose their words, their movements, their pleasures. Yet at the same time they beg for laws to restrain them, rulers to direct them, and powers above them to assure them of safety. They protest against authority even as they cling to it. They whisper about rebellion, yet tremble at the thought of standing alone. It is not freedom they want. It is the dream of freedom, softened by the reality of control. And he who knows this, he who can dress chains as security and control as guidance, possesses a power far greater than armies or gold. Understand, then, that freedom is a banner waved in the streets but rarely carried in the heart. The people will bow to power, so long as that power promises to shield them from uncertainty. They will worship control if it arrives with the sweet language of protection. They will defend their captor if he convinces them that he has saved them from their own worst instincts. This is the paradox of man. The louder he proclaims his love of liberty, the more desperately he seeks someone to relieve him of its weight. And so, when you hear the chants for freedom, do not be deceived. They do not ask for liberty. They ask for control disguised as liberty. Whoever answers that cry with both a firm hand and a gentle promise will rule not just their bodies, but their very souls. Men praise morality as though it were a sacred law written into the order of the universe, yet morality is nothing more than a costume, worn to preserve appearances and to keep the herd in line. The truth is harsher. Virtue is useful when it serves one's purpose, and disposable when it does not. What they call morality is a convenient agreement. A masked society places upon itself so that men may coexist without tearing each other apart openly. But behind closed doors, when true stakes are at play, the mask is removed, and power bends morality into whatever shape it requires. Consider how men admire honesty, loyalty, and compassion. These virtues are praised from the pulpit and in the marketplace, but the very men who worship them are the first to abandon them when survival or ambition demands otherwise. A ruler who governs only by virtue will soon be destroyed by those who do not hesitate to abandon it. Yet a ruler who knows how to appear virtuous while acting according to necessity will rise above all others. It is not goodness itself that matters, but the shadow of goodness, the performance of it, that keeps people obedient. You see, morality has never ruled the world, appearance has. Men do not truly care whether their leaders are virtuous, so long as they can believe they are. A leader's cruelty, deceit, or betrayal will be forgiven if cloaked in noble words and justified as sacrifice for the greater good. Morality, then, becomes not a rule to obey, but a tool to wield, a language through which power convinces the masses that what serves its interest also serves theirs. This is why the wise do not bind themselves to absolute virtue. To remain rigid in morality is to be broken by those willing to bend it. The strong understand that morality is a weapon, sharpened or blunted depending on the situation. Mercy can pacify, cruelty can secure order, lies can shield truth, and betrayal can preserve survival. What matters is not whether these acts are good or evil, but whether they achieve the necessary end. And yet, do not mistake this for contempt toward virtue. Virtue has its place, for it is the mask that deceives the crowd. To wear it convincingly is to command loyalty without resistance, but to rely on it sincerely is to place one's life in the hands of hypocrites. The world does not reward pure virtue. It rewards those who know how to wield it as a mask. Thus, morality is not a law carved into stone, but a theater stage upon which men perform. Those who mistake the mask for the face are doomed to be ruled by those who know the difference. Love is spoken of as though it were the strongest bond between men, as though affection could keep armies loyal and subjects faithful. Yet history and the private dealings of men show otherwise. Love is a fragile thing, built on gratitude and emotion, and when the winds change, it crumbles like sand in the hand. A man may love his ruler, his friend, or his kin, but when danger arrives, love gives way to fear, for fear grips the heart with a force that love cannot rival. It is not pleasant to admit, but pleasant truths do not hold power, only the cruel ones do. Consider how men behave in times of crisis. Those who once swore loyalty in the warmth of affection will abandon it when survival is at stake. Gratitude evaporates the moment a better opportunity presents itself. Even friendships, long nurtured, break when tested by danger. Love is generous, but it asks for trust in return, and trust is the weakest of currencies in a world ruled by uncertainty. Fear, on the other hand, asks for nothing. It takes root in the mind and does not waver. It requires no maintenance, no gifts, no indulgence. Once instilled, it endures even when affection dies. This is why a leader who governs through love alone will always find betrayal waiting for him. Those who are loved may be admired, but admiration breeds envy, and envy breeds treachery. Love binds only so long as it is convenient, but fear binds even when it is hated. It is fear that makes a soldier hold the line when the battle seems lost, not love for his commander. It is fear that makes the subject pay his tax, not affection for his ruler. Love may bring joy, but fear secures obedience. Do not misunderstand. Love has its value, for it softens power and makes it easier to accept. A ruler despised without any balance of affection risks rebellion. But if one must choose, if the scales tip between being loved and being feared, fear is the safer choice. For love is a rope of silk, easily cut, while fear is a chain of iron, not easily broken. Men will betray those they love, but they will rarely defy what they fear. And in the end, it is not affection that keeps order in the world, but the shadow of dread that reminds every man of consequence. Truth is celebrated as if it were a noble jewel, a treasure men claim to honor above all else, yet observe them closely, and you will see how little they desire its weight. Truth unsettles, it disrupts, it forces the mind to face what it would rather avoid. Few can endure it, fewer still can act upon it. And so, while men chant of truth in their public words, they crave something else in their private hearts, illusions that soothe, lies that comfort, appearances that steady the trembling of their souls. Understand this well. Truth rarely serves power, but lies, when artfully crafted, often build it. A ruler who speaks unvarnished truth is soon hated, for truth demands sacrifice. But a ruler who dresses falsehood in the clothing of hope will be loved, even as he deceives. People do not want the world as it is. They want the world as they imagine it could be. They will cling to the illusion even when reality exposes the fraud, because illusion is easier to bear than reality. Consider religion, politics, and love, the three forces that move the hearts of men. Each thrives not upon pure truth, but upon belief, ritual, and story. Strip them down to their core, and you find frailty. Yet millions will defend them with their lives. Why? Because men are not guided by the weight of facts, but by the power of conviction. Truth is often powerless against conviction, but a lie skillfully shaped becomes conviction itself. It is therefore not enough to know truth. One must know when to conceal it, when to distort it, and when to replace it altogether. Lies are not always evil, they are instruments as capable of destruction as of preservation. A lie can prevent panic, inspire loyalty, protect fragile unity. A leader who knows this can steer the crowd, while one who insists upon raw truth will find himself alone, despised by those who begged for honesty yet rejected it once given. And so deception becomes not merely a weapon, but a necessity. To lead, one must understand that men do not want the whole truth. They want the version that reassures them, the illusion that makes them feel safe while keeping them obedient. To deny them, this is to invite chaos. To master, it is to secure power. In the end, truth may hold beauty, but lies hold utility. And when survival and dominion are at stake, it is utility that rules the world. Weakness is the one scent that cannot be hidden, for it draws predators as blood draws wolves. The world does not pity the fragile, it feeds upon them. Men may speak kindly of compassion, of mercy, of lifting up the fallen, but in their secret hearts they despise those who reveal too much softness. For weakness is an invitation, it signals to others that power may be taken without resistance. And where opportunity presents itself, morality quickly dissolves, leaving only hunger for advantage. Consider how men treat the strong. Even when they hate him, they respect him. They speak ill of his cruelty, but submit to his will. They envy his dominance, yet secretly desire his protection. Strength demands recognition, while weakness demands exploitation. A ruler who shows fear becomes prey to his own subjects. A commander who wavers invites mutiny. A man who reveals his fragility in the arena of rivals finds himself torn apart. The instinct to devour the weak is not learned. It is born in the marrow of humanity. This is why appearance matters as much as reality. A man may feel doubt in his heart, terror in his bones, despair in his spirit, but to show it openly is to invite vultures. The wise conceal their trembling and wear the mask of unyielding resolve. Strength is as much performance as substance, and in a world ruled by perception, to appear strong is to survive. The lion does not always hunt, yet his very presence keeps the jackals at bay. Understand that weakness is not always the lack of power, but the admission of it. Men can endure wounds, defeats, even humiliations, if they disguise them beneath a show of determination. But once they confess fragility, once they surrender to self-pity, they signal to others that the battle is already lost. And those who circle them will waste no time in finishing what has been revealed. Yet there is cunning even in weakness when it is wielded carefully. To feign it at the right moment can lure an enemy into arrogance, can disarm suspicion, can mask the gathering of hidden strength. But genuine weakness, unmasked, uncontrolled, destroys without mercy. The man who carries it openly walks among wolves with bleeding hands, and the end is inevitable. The world does not honor those who beg for pity. It honors those who refuse to bend, even in defeat. And so, if you would endure, never reveal the cracks in your armor. For the moment you do, the predators will come, and they will not stop until nothing remains. Loyalty is praised as though it were the highest of human virtues, sung about in the tales of heroes and written into the codes of nations. Men swear oaths of allegiance. They clasp hands in brotherhood. They promise eternal faithfulness. But listen not to their words, watch their actions when fortune shifts. You will see that loyalty is only as strong as the advantage it provides. When it costs nothing, men are loyal. When it costs everything, loyalty dissolves like smoke in the wind. This is why alliances are fragile. They endure only so long as they serve mutual benefit. The moment one partner gains more from betrayal than from fidelity, betrayal becomes inevitable. It may arrive quietly, with excuses and subtle treachery, or it may strike suddenly like a dagger in the night, but it will come. To believe otherwise is to confuse men's words with their instincts, and instincts are always stronger than promises. A wise leader, then, never trusts loyalty as a permanent shield. He knows it is a currency that must be constantly bought, managed, and weighed against risk. Gifts, favors, fear, and opportunity. These are the forces that secure loyalty, not honor or sentiment. To rely on devotion alone is to gamble with survival, for men will abandon even those they once worshipped when their own life or fortune is at stake. History is filled with rulers toppled by their closest companions, generals betrayed by their most trusted lieutenants, friends turned into assassins by envy or opportunity. Yet betrayal, though despised, is also the very engine of survival. A man who refuses to betray, even when necessity demands it, is a man already defeated. To cling to loyalty when it leads only to ruin is not virtue but weakness. Those who endure know when to sacrifice sentiment for survival, when to cut ties before they become chains, when to strike before being struck. To betray at the right moment is not shameful. It is the art of preserving one's dominion. Still, there is wisdom in appearances. A ruler who betrays openly invites hatred, but one who cloaks betrayal in necessity, who convinces others that treachery was forced upon him, will often escape condemnation. Men will curse betrayal when it wounds them, but they will justify it when it benefits them. Thus, betrayal, like morality, must be managed not with honesty, but with performance. In the end, loyalty is not the iron bond men imagine, but a thread spun from interest, fear, and convenience. To mistake it for anything stronger is to invite ruin. Those who understand its fragility do not despair. They use it, they test it, and when it no longer serves, they break it without hesitation. For survival demands it, and survival is the highest law.